What is going on, my peeps? Man, Versatile's back with another video. Back here getting straight into it in terms of my next build that I have completed, and that is with my Thor and rocking the in-game outfit or suit. Yes, now that I have him selected, let's check out what's going on with him. So once we enter the character menu, we see melee rating 1210, range rating 1991, defense rating 1443, heroic rating 13,942. Now of course that could be higher if I was going with the strictly valor build or a more strict valor build, but I decided I didn't want to do that. I still wanted him to be able to do a little bit of damage with ranged abilities, and I still wanted him to get in there and do a little bit of melee, so his melee isn't going to drop under 1,000. For his defense, I surprisingly been able to keep that up, but with his Warrior's Fury and his Bifrost, he's able to essentially kind of regain back some health or willpower, so that way he doesn't actually need to be revived that often in missions and stuff like that. So that's just like the quick overview for Thor. As you see right now, he's champion level 18, after power level 150. So before we get into the nitty gritty, the details in terms of the gear and the skills and the stat rating, if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys ignite the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so that way you never miss my videos or my live streams, because that's where we get into the real fun, doing this live. And then we can sit back, chillax, see what's cracking. Now let's get into the Omega level build. So with Thor, let's start off with skills and how I have him built. So if we go to his speciality, you see over here I use Ymir's Wrath, which gives teammates a temporary damage boost of 25% once I activate Warrior's Fury. I find that to be very effective because my teammates, whether AI or humans, using that really works to the benefit of adding that much more damage pile up on, if not boss levels, just to make it through the floor or that current level of the mission. If we go on over here, I use Hell's Anger, which increases critical attack damage by 25% and critical chance by 10% of anyone affected by Warrior's Fury. Now, I would imagine this is self-applied as well, since he is affected by Warrior's Fury, but this also goes that much further with the heroes who's around you when you use Warrior's Fury. So sometimes what can happen is, if I'm, you can always call out, or I could always call out to, nearby teammates or heroes that they're, especially if they're humans. I'm like, hey y'all, come near me so I can use Warrior's Fury, give you all that stat boost real quick. Then once I activate this, they'll get a benefit from Ymir's Wrath and Hell's Anger. So I like the support heroic that they have for Thor's Warrior's Fury. Now moving on to the assault heroic, I use Son of the Elder Gods, which inflicts 20% more cryo damage, or 20% more damage, and applies cryo damage to targets caught in the swirling vortexes. So you could call this essentially a battery buff effect. And one thing you'll notice when you hold R1 with God Blast, or your right trigger, I guess it would be, or the right bumper for Xbox controllers, if you hold it, once you activate it, the whirlwind goes longer, so you'll get that much more effect out of your cryo damage, and your whirlwind, damage your damage boost. If you hold it and let it max itself out instead of you just pressing it, you'll get that much more damage out of using God Blast. So that's why I like using Son of the Elder Gods as well. And then of course here I use Overexposure, which inflicts 15% increased normal and stun damage against shocked enemies. Now, why is that a big deal? We'll get into that in a second, or in a few seconds. Now, in terms of my ultimate heroic, I use Muspelheim's Torment. I had to basically deactivate and reactivate it because for my game data, it kind of glitched out and actually didn't effectively use the burn damage effect for the radius for Muspelheim's Torment, but now it works. So, and I like this because it adds a little additional flavor to the Bifrost. I don't use Jotunheim because I'm already doing cryo damage. And then let's see. Yeah, yeah, it could do healing if you want to. Maybe if you want to do some level of support with Thor, you know, this along with Hawkeye's healing arrow, you know. But I like the burn effect. And then with Odin's Blessing of the Realm, automatically activates Odin Force Overcharge when returning from the Bifrost. This is a way to overcharge Thor often, is using the Bifrost. And that way he'll gain additional benefits such as critical attack chance and increases critical attack damage, you know, affecting the other teammates' power and just being that much more stronger. And God Blast, I believe, is affected by being overcharged or with the Warrior's Fury as well. So also keep that in mind if you're thinking about the direction for your Thor build. Now, if we go to Mastery, we see here increase all range attacks by 15%. I like that because again, I still want him to be able to do damage outside of heroic based attacks. So, you know, stun damage is cool. I'm glad they finally got him another takedown, but he only has like what, 3 or 4. So when I can take them down, thank you, but not as big of a deal. I'll show you guys my Hawk build once I'm finished with that, and how crazy I have his status stun damage percentage. It's pretty interesting. So, and then I didn't want to use heroic charge. It's cool, but I'm good. And since I'm not going to be doing a lot of hammer swings as often, even though I really like getting in there and using Thor's different combos, because he has a few different cool combos. If you press square and triangle in the right sequences, he has some pretty cool combos, but it's not enough for me to move the needle. Alright, and then I got combo damage, where combo finishers are increased by 25%. Now I still do combo finishers, so for those reasons for that reason alone, I have to have some level of boost there. But if I wanted to, I could always increase the attack damage when air juggling enemies or the unarmed attacks, and I don't do a lot of unarmed attacks or a lot of juggling. I mean, with Thor, I guess I do, but I like the 25% boost in damage. Now, heroic takedown mastery, give me them heroic orbs because that just helps with God Blast, Bifrost, and Warrior's Fury. If we go on over to ranged, I do the critical throw because it basically gives him an automatic critical throw, which will then give him the increased critical attack damage as well. So I like this here. I like this. Now, critical return, it will inflict critical, it will boost the critical attacks on return flight by 35%, which is great. And it also appears as though Mjolnir will actually seek out enemies on its way back. So as it's coming back, if it's anywhere near my pathway back, it will hit them on the way back. I like that a lot. That works. And then here I got charge flight. So while I'm flying, when I hit the ground, electrical charge, blast people away. Pretty easy. Now I could do this where I could just fly faster. Not as big of a deal. I wish I didn't take intrinsic charge. That should just be an ability for Thor and Iron Man specifically. And then maybe with Hulk and Captain America, you know, they can run and or jump faster with, you know, pressing and holding X or something like that, or circle while they're running. That would work. And then with Hawkeye and Kate Bishop could teleport, but maybe she could teleport further distances. That would work when you're not in battle, or maybe in battle too. And then Hawkeye, oof, that's gonna be a tough one. Maybe he could just grapple to a lot more things and almost kind of be like Spider-Man. I guess you could say the same with Black Widow as well. Now the Black Widow movie has you to believe Black Widow is a superhuman, but that's just not the case. And then Kamala, same with her. She should be able to cover longer distances with her jumps or strides by holding a combination of a button or two while sprinting. So I would love for that to be the case. Take Intrinsic out of it and give them the rightful ability to travel faster through these pretty spacious, you know, terrain, you know, the territory that we have on here. I digressed. Alright, so get back over here. Intrinsic ability, Ionic Bolts, defeating enemies while overcharge is active, strikes nearby targets with lightning. Now you see why I use the shocked enemies effect with the with my specialities. That's one of the reasons why, is because ionic bolts, he's innately shocking people anyway. So why not stack that damage with the shock ability, and then increase the amount of intrinsic Odin Force energy by 15%, which is nice, and then reduces the overall energy cost using intrinsic Odin Force by 10%. So I like that as well. Lightning field, when overcharged, surrounding enemies will be intermittently struck by lightning. Again, a stack that shock damage. Increased damage resistance by 50% when Odin Force is overcharged, so it helps him with his willpower and his defense. And then increase all damage by 15% when Odin Force is overcharged, and since he overcharges with Bifrost, no problem right there. And I believe I have some gear that also assists in overcharging Thor. We'll get to that in a second. Now here again, I kind of messed up. I should not have put this one on over here, so I should have a skill point back. I've been trying to increase his critical attack damage and his critical chance. I've been boosting his heroic charge and his perk chance, and that's this area, and this area is pretty much what I'm going to be focused on for Thor until they fix the melee and range, because then I would go range for him and boost range. This is cool, wasn't as big of a deal for me right now. This is, and this is, but I also feel like one of these doesn't actually provide the 4% boost it should, so that I hope they change that or fix that as well. And then increase willpower recovery by 5%. I like that. Now, getting into the gear, I stick with Tactigon because of status effects, and of course, as I said, shock really does a good job with that battery damage, or that double damage boost, basically, or even triple, just constant damage being applied to, you know, enemies and villains. Minor artifact, I got Valor, and the perks on this is damage reduction from shock damage, which is hilarious. You think he would be able to already be innately, you know, immune to shock damage. And then 14% increase in stun damage from signature attacks, so that's nice. So I still can try to get some takedowns with Thor. And then here I have proficiency, resolve, and valor. I've been thinking about replacing this with a triple precision or another I don't think I need might. Maybe defense, like a triple resolve, but I haven't been 100% certain yet that I want to do that. But what I like about it is I get the increased charge rate of heroic support by 9.3%, and taking damage grants a cosmic buff. So, and that deals damage there. So I like that, and it restores willpower and heroic energy. Who doesn't like that? Now I did have triple precision on him, but look at the hit I took in my heroic, and arguably I could put it back on him. You know, my defense falls, and my heroic ultimate charges by 7.8%, and I get 50% increased stun damage from heavy combo finishers. Now, the one I'm actually more interested in is the ultimate heroic, so I might throw this back on him. 15% isn't that bad for his heroic, because it will still be above 10,000. So I'm tempted to put that on. This is cool, but I don't need it necessarily. I like the values that I'm getting, but I'm good. And then I'm good here as well. So you know what? I think I might put this back on him, just cause I like my ranged and my heroic is high still, and I get that charge rate. Now, before I show you guys the rest of the gear, let's check out the stat rating. So I no longer have intensity on him, which is unfortunate, but it's fine. My stun status meter damage for him and status resistance is 15% at 13.5. Now, what's nice is I got my charge rates for my heroics bumped up. 12% apiece for assault and support, and 20% or 19.8% for ultimate heroic. Oftentimes I like to round up. My armor with resilience is sitting around 32%, which is nice. And then resolve boosts my stuff to 76% willpower recovery effectiveness, which isn't going to be as big of a deal, again, because of my overcharged abilities. And then my critical damage is 330%. Now, when you look at my critical chance, 24%, and my perk chance is 27%. So that stuff is higher. If I left the proficiency based gear on him, then that probably would be a little bit higher, but I like the fact that it's still you know, high enough to where it should activate more often than not. So now if we go switch over to the gear, that Girdle of the Thunderer, baby. So the reason why I like this gear so much is because of the damage dealt while overcharged. And if he overcharges often, then that's just stack damage. Increase the amount of shock damage dealt with any attack by 20%. So see why having, you know, thoughtfulness in mind really works for the build. Since he's going straight shock, that's a lot of shock damage that he's going to be applying to enemies and foes, you know what I mean? And then increase the amount of overcharge energy gained from all attacks by 15%. So Asgard's Fury allows for Thor to increase his chances to be overcharged, and then increases the amount of times he will be overcharged while in battle, which is great. Now, the gear I had to take off, I like my defense on this and the slight hit, but you know, Cincture of Asgard Sign, it's cool. It's the Jarvis Barrier. Defeating enemies activates the Jarvis Barrier. Increase Heroic Ultimate by 18%. Increase the amount of Odin Force meter by 10%. That's good, right? I could always switch back and forth. Maybe I need him to have a little bit more defense, and I switch these out. I lose the shock, but my overcharge is still effective here, and that's why Girdle of the Thunder is real nice. Now I have Powerful Blitz Belt. Increased damage from power attacks. Chance activating an Assault Heroic grants a heroic charge boost, and the Assault Heroic is charged by increases by 17%. That's why I'm keeping it, because you never know. One day you might just decide you want to switch up. This is all cosmic stuff, which is great, but I don't have anything that innately affects cosmic, except for I think it's this piece right here. Nope, I took it off. So that's why thankfully I'm not gonna put that on right now. Then I have the Hive Mind Girdle. It's cool, you know. I get a Jarvis activation with this, but I lose out on a lot of that overcharge and shock stuff that I like with this. So now moving on to my chest piece here. I have the Nimble Pulse perk on it, 43% chance. Perfect dodge triggers a stun explosion, 15% damage reduction from cryo, and increased resistance to being suppressed. This is the only piece of gear that could be changed, but I think I like where I'm at because of the proficiency, precision, and valor. This is neat. Resolve, valor, and intensity. You know, parrying gets damage buff, critically injured triggers a damage buff, and then damage reduction from plasma. I like this one. That's why I have it still, because I could always put it back on. Resilience, precision, and valor. This is cool. Taking damage grants an intrinsic burst. That's a way for me to also maintain my ability to be overcharged. Then I have this one as well. Parrying grants heroic charge burst. When critically injured, grants an intrinsic burst and reduction from shock damage. So this is the reason why I'm keeping these three. At any point, I could either switch back to this, or you know, just rock with, you know, that, or try that out. Now my grip is a proficiency and vulnerability grip, and this, you know, 10% chance range power attacks grants an invulnerability buff, and that's gonna be pretty easy because I throw my hammer a lot, so, and I charge it up a lot to get that critical throw, so that should raise my chances of activating that perk. Then, of course, range power attacks deal bonus shock damage on top of any innate shock damage. That's that double damage boost, or battery damage, as they would say, or a battery buff. Then you got 38% chance. 38% chance defeating an enemy with a ranged critical attack grants heroic charge burst for all heroics. This is why I really like this grip, because it helps me charge my heroics. I get that crazy shock damage and then vulnerability buff. Now at any point I could always switch back to one of these because I like these. This is the one I like the most, but look at the biggest hit I take, and that's my heroic, and I really like it. But I like the fact that this proficiency grip gave me a big boost in my heroic in the first place. This would drop it back down to like 9,000 or something like that. And this is with pain. Now this is where the electric wraps comes in handy from the Hive Mind grips, because again, even more shock damage and a Jarvis barrier. But I mean, the pinned enemies thing is cool, and every now and then I pin people, but this is why I want to put it back on. I just might have to get another valor stack instead of a precision stack. if I get a Valor stack and put it on over here to maintain my Valor, I would do that. But I like, and that's why I like this Hive Mind grip. I really kind of want to put that back on. My defense continues to fall, but being overcharged often, keeping my heroics active, keeps me alive as well. So it's tough, and this is why also having this on works, because of the Jarvis barrier, and I activate that often because all it takes is for you to hit an enemy with a ranged critical attack. Critical throw should often activate the Jarvis barrier. So that's the combination there. So I'm always contemplating putting that back on. And then I got my Brazen Shield Payload Van Braces. 41% chance that melee critical attack will activate a shield payload. Heavy power attacks now deal a burst of additional shock damage. And then 4.5% increased critical attack or critical hit chance for a light combo finisher. And this is how you get the build up in the ratings to keep the defense slightly high, keep my Valor even higher. Now, unfortunately, what in the world is going on here? Alright. I don't remember, is that a glitch? Because I don't remember this sitting here like that. There we go. Glitched. So now I don't have this on or these on because it's Gamma. It's Gamma. Hive Mind Gauntlets, Arm Guards of the Thunderer. Now maybe they give me another one that gives me shock based stuff, and then status damage. But this has a status damage, which is dope. All status damage dealt increases by 25%. Like, that would really work from my shock and stuff, and I just wish those perks were shock. Now, should I be overly consumed with the shock? Not necessarily, just because I have my grips doing shock damage. I have mastery skills that are doing shock damage. So, and then of course my attacks do shock damage. This is very tempting to put on. I'll take a slight hit in heroics, which is fine. My defense takes a huge hit though. But that status damage is something different, you know what I mean? Now, if I go back here, I'm keeping this. I don't know why. It's only got 2 rating perks, which is precision and resilience. Don't really care for it, but it's the shock and the damage buffs that I get, which is cool. So that's why I'm keeping it for now. Same here. But I could actually get rid of this because it's not really serving any purpose. And then here, a 46% chance melee critical attack that grants an intrinsic burst. Light signature attacks deal cryo damage, and 129% increased critical attack damage from Odin Force attacks. So imagine adding that to the critical attack damage when you're overcharged, or using Odin Force attack. So I guess they added an additional space in there between attack and damage too. I just caught that. That's cute. That's why I'm also keeping it, because you never know. And then this willpower burst, shock damage, increase Odin Force energy. It's clean. And then of course Omega Van Braces. I don't know why they still only give you 2 rating perks on exotics. Those would easily automatically always get 3. So that's what makes it hard to want to use these. It is. This, I'll probably get rid of this too. Alright, boom. And that's my build for Thor. Just pay attention to those perks. Pay attention to your specialty skills, your mastery skills, and use your champion skill points wisely. And you will have a very effective Thor, a very effective hero out on your strike team in battles and in missions. But hey, again, leave your comments and thoughts down in the comment section below. But again, as always, if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys like the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so that way you never miss my videos. Then we can sit back and relax to see what's cracking. It's your man Versatile signing out. Until the next video or live stream. Wait for